Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve. Patriot activists are taking over the Northeast and the liberal media is taking notice. We're going to see how defenders of faith, family, and freedom are redefining politics in one of the most liberal parts of the nation and how it may end up changing our nation for generations to come. Oregon Public Broadcasting recently featured a rather panicked piece on the rise of the so-called far right and how they're taking over the Northwest. It's a fascinating piece because in many respects, it summarizes a number of trends that do collectively suggest that the Pacific Northwest, generally known as one of the most reliably left-wing parts of the country, is in fact beginning to transform into a powerful and vibrant life world for patriots. The article begins with the rise of patriot militias, particularly in and around the Antifa-infested city of Portland. One of those militias, known as People's Rights, is a civilian-based first responder organization that's absolutely surged in membership across the nation. It was founded by Ammon Bundy in rural Idaho back in March of 2020. You'll know Bundy from the standoffs he had with federal agents in Nevada and Oregon over private property rights and federal jurisdiction. And he founded People's Rights to function like a, quote, neighborhood watch on steroids. But of course, you know, the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, they've had a significant presence in and around Portland over the last couple of years. And a twofold trend is happening that we're seeing more and more. One is with law enforcement getting involved in patriot militias as active members. And the second is patriot militia members becoming more involved in politics. So, for example, Proud Boy member Dan Tooze has recently been elected vice chair of the Clackamas County Republican Party in Oregon. Or Ammon Bundy himself. He came in third in the Idaho governor's race, getting over 100,000 votes. That's nearly 20% of the total vote in Idaho. In Shasta County, which is about 3 hours north of Sacramento, patriot militias have organized voters to successfully recall a bunch of rhinos, you know, Republicans in name only, from office, as well as take over a number of boards of supervisors in the county. But according to this article, all of that is just the tip of the iceberg. The real heart of the patriot takeover of the Northwest lies in what's called the precinct strategy. This is a strategy that's been advocated over the last 10 years, particularly by conservative activist Dan Schultz, who basically argued that if grassroots patriots take over precinct committees in all of their statewide counties, well, then they would in effect own and control the Republican Party. And not only do they get to vet and put forward candidates, but precincts also get to fill legislative vacancies. And so the strategy is working. Since 2019, Republicans have added 142 precinct committee members to Clackamas County alone, which represents a 14% increase in participation. By contrast, Democrats added just 62 new members, representing a 2% increase in participation. We're seeing the same thing happening in Central Oregon's Deschutes County, where the number of Democrats running for committee seats increased by about 3% from 2020 to 2022. The number of Republican candidates grew by 25% in the same time period. In fact, the new party chair of Deschutes County, Scott Stewart, is a prominent member of the People's Rights Militia. So clearly we're seeing significant momentum towards the patriot right going on in the Northwest. And now we're starting to see some extraordinary alliances happening, alliances that may indeed even end up changing the national map. You're not going to want to miss this. But first, gang, it's here. I'm so proud to share with you the title of my brand new guidebook that'll be launched next week. You ready for this? Here's the title. I love it. 5 Steps to Escape the Great Reset with Your Family and Sanity Intact. You're going to absolutely love this. This guidebook will help you and your family destroy woke culture and build a new conservative world so together we can escape the Great Reset of woke fanatics. In this detailed guide, I've outlined the top methods patriots are using to escape the Great Reset, insights into the real failure behind the globalist agendas, how to build a life that isn't reliant on woke corporations or institutions, and even how you can read the hidden truth of daily news on the websites I use for my own research. It's absolutely awesome. I'm so excited to share this project with you. So many of you have reached out and asked when it's going to be available, and I promise you'll be able to access it soon. Next week, I'll give you all the info, so stay tuned. The People's Rights Militia is officially teaming up together with the massive and growing Greater Idaho movement. Now, if you don't know, the Greater Idaho movement is a county-by-county referendum that's being voted on throughout Oregon to secede from Antifa-infested Portland and join up with Deep Red Idaho. Thus far, upwards of 11 counties in the state of Oregon have passed referendums to join their neighboring red state, and several more counties are scheduled to hold similar votes. All told, nearly 50% of Oregon's counties are prepared to leave and join up with Idaho. Now, if that secession were actually implemented, that would mean that 3/4 of the landmass of the state of Oregon would be emancipated from the imploding city of Portland, which would in turn make neighboring Idaho the third largest state in the union in terms of landmass. It's awesome. Now, already there's a bill that's just been introduced in the Oregon Senate that would indeed begin talks with the Idaho legislature on adjusting the border. And the Idaho legislature just voted in favor of a bill that would move the Oregon and Idaho border westward to indeed create a Greater Idaho. The bill authorizes Idaho legislators to present a proposal to Oregon politicians about relocating the border to the Cascade Mountain Range, which would end up incorporating over 60% of Oregon's landmass into Idaho. So the Idaho legislature looks like they're ready to do this. And it's very possible that Oregon legislators might be ready to do this as well. I mean, we may indeed be seeing the changing of the national map happening right in front of our very eyes. And if we do, it'll be because patriot activists stood up and took over their party, their state, and if they keep going, as they inevitably will, their nation as well. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on Bud Light's $6 billion woke disaster. You're not going to want to miss this. So make sure to click on the link and I'll see you over there. God bless.